Hi, I'm Alan Smith. As you can see, I'm very casual today because it's so hot. As you also noticed that I'm not doing this from a beautiful outside location this month. I'm actually back in the office because it is so warm outside. I didn't want you to see me sweating. We've also added I've added my Google Pixel earbuds. I hope that this helps in the recording for the quality so that y'all can hear me better on some of these videos. If not, let me know and we'll figure something else out. But I'm trying to keep this casual, but I'm also trying to keep this informative. So I'm bringing you the East Dallas real estate market update. We've been discussing this. If you're thinking about buying or selling residential real estate, it's important that you understand the current market trends. According to NetRis, and that is NTREIS, that is our local MLS, the marketplace for East Dallas residential properties in May of 2023 versus the same period last year. We're going to go through that, but remember, we're always looking, the stats are always a month to 2 months behind, depending on what I'm reporting. So this is June, but we're going to be discussing May, and we're going to take this information and while we don't have a crystal ball and can predict what's going to happen necessarily predict what's going to happen in the future, we hope that this information helps us to see where the market is going based on what's happened in the past. So according to NetRis, the number of sold listings decreased in May of 2023 by 34.5% to 142 units, with a top sale of $3,500,000, and that was at 4765 Chapel Hill Road. The average sale price decreased by 14% to $756,832, moving the average price per square foot down 8% to $337 per square foot. This is the first decrease that we've seen in many months. The inventory of properties available for sale measured in months supply has continued to increase. It increased by 57.4% to 2.2 months supply, which is that's 2.2 months worth of inventory available for sale or properties available for sale. Yet that still remains critically low from a historic 6-month perspective. Mortgage rates increased with the 30-year fixed rate average near 6.79% according to the mortgage rate source Freddie Mac. So, in the coming months, it's important that we understand some of the following. I'm going to look at some of my notes here and then let you know what I've defined. I've been talking about this being a very unusual market. I think the unusual market we've experienced in the first 6 months of the year is going to continue through the remaining part of 2023. Those who know me, you know I'm a realistic person. I'm very positive, very optimistic about things, but I want to bring you a realistic perspective of what I see is happening in the local East Dallas market. There's a lot of agents out there that are always, everything's great. Oh, this is a great time to buy, great time to sell. And while the market is really good, don't get me wrong, I think that we also need to look at some things so we can see how the market has changed and what makes it an unusual market. So I've been saying for many years, East Dallas is a hot spot, and it is a hot spot. It continues to be. All these hundreds of people that are moving to Texas daily, in the Dallas market daily, they're moving to East Dallas. And you may have heard some of the hoopla recently from some of the other agents and from social media talking about the HouseFresh website article. HouseFresh was looking at stats from Zillow. Zillow tracks stats of neighborhoods that are searched. Most popular, least popular. And one of the most popular, the number one popular neighborhood area that was being searched was East Dallas. Well, that comes as no surprise to me. And those of you who follow me, it should come as no surprise to you either. But what's interesting is if you read on through the article, one of the areas, Buckner Terrace, they don't include it in East Dallas geographically in their stats, but that I considered in East Dallas, on the southern end of East Dallas, that neighborhood received the least number of searches. Explains why that neighborhood was averaging about 52 days on market versus East Dallas as a whole is about 25 days on the market. So again, this is searches, people that are looking. That's all that means. But it does kind of support that East Dallas is a hot spot. Also, if you've been listening to me for a while, you know I've been following Sam Khater. That's spelled Khater. He is the chief economist for Freddie Mac. And interest rates were up 0.5% from April of this year to June 1st. So I usually start checking stats at the beginning of the month. And when I checked, they were up 0.5%. That's a big increase. Of course, on the federal level, the debt ceiling situation, that's been kind of put to bed right now, and so the nervousness in the market had settled down. So we'll see what happens with interest rates. But he says that there's been a steady flow of, he says, and to quote him, although there has been a steady flow of purchase demand around rates in the low to mid 6% range, that demand's likely to weaken as rates approach 7%. Are we going to see 7%? I don't know yet. Rates have kind of backed off a little bit from the beginning of the month. But I already see this in the sub $500,000 market here and with first-time buyers. They seem to be the ones that are most sensitive to these price fluctuations, these interest rate increases and fluctuations. So we'll have to see what happens. But I've already seen it. I've already been affected with some of my listings. I've also been affected with some of my buyers who, their ability to purchase a certain dollar amount has shifted as rates have gone up. So we'll see what happens there. Again, we've been talking, I've talked about this before. I think for 10 years now, we've been in an extremely hyper-local market where things are always local, but I feel like it's become hyper-local. And what do I mean by that? Well, I had lunch with a really good friend of mine, real estate agent, yesterday, and her and I were talking about this, and she kind of agreed it's almost like house to house, neighborhood to neighborhood, and price point to price point. Things can vary. We were talking about like a particular home, and there was a similar home in the neighborhood. We thought there were similar finish outs, updates were very similar. Why did one sell quickly and the other one didn't? I don't know. It's just an unusual market. Another thing that I noticed is that inventory's up, but if you notice the stats, sales are down and pendings are down. And I want to know, is that something that just happened this month, or has it happened? When did it happen? And so I went back, because those of you again who know me or have been following me for a while know I've been looking at stats for East Dallas for almost 10 years now, and specifically tracking them at least 7 years. The interesting thing was that sales and pendings have been down every month since June of 2022. So we talked about, and I'm not going to get into that, the list to price sold ratio. That is, what's the ratio of the home when it lists versus when it's sold, and that's way down from where it was a year ago. So if you want to know a little bit more about that, you can go back to some of the other blogs that I've posted and videos and listen to that or look at those stats. So if you're thinking about buying or selling residential real estate now or in the near future, it's important that you seek the guidance and advice of an expert local realtor. I appreciate you listening in. We'll see you next month, and I hope that you stay cool and that you have an incredible rest of your summer. Thank you. Talk to you later.